Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talking about the team the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so the saying goes, you can never go home again. And it took me a while to understand that. When I was younger, I didn't really understand with it. I go home every day, right? Well, it means like once you leave and you come back, it's never really the home that you thought it was. And it makes sense. You see it in sports, you see it in life where people leave, they go somewhere for whatever reason, they come back and things just aren't the same. They just don't feel the same. Well, it's a little bit different with sports, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support this video. It's a great way to support the channel. It's absolutely free, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support this channel without doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video, which of course I always do appreciate. Now, if you're watching this video and you like the content, just subscribe. It's easy, it's simple, it helps you find my videos quicker and faster, and it's a good way to support. So please do it. All right, let's get to it. So the reason why coming back home in sports is different is because rarely does a player leave a situation or a franchise and then come back to that franchise and everything is exactly the same. Ownership is usually the same, but like leadership in the front office, coaching, teammates, scheme, expectations, things like that. This is the difference with leaving and you going off to college and coming back 4 years later and you're like, dude, this is not the same place that I used to grow up in. Hunter Renfrow is a little bit different. Now, let's take a little step back before we go forward. The issue with Hunter Renfrow has always been durability. Now, it's not to say that he hasn't been durable, but the questions about durability were always there. As far as his production goes and his ability, he wasn't a fifth-round pick. He was much better than that. But his small stature, his small size, just everything was small about him. His hands were small, his shoulder width was small, his frame was small. He just couldn't put a lot of mass on him, and you really didn't want him to because the best part of his game is his quickness. Now, take a look at all that coming together, and you start seeing some cracks in his game. It really started his rookie season. He was actually pretty tough. He got hit, fractured a rib, and actually punctured his lung, and he stayed in the game. They did a X-ray and didn't find anything, and he still was in a lot of pain. They did an MRI, and that's when they found the fractured rib that went into his lung. His first game back from his first injury as a rookie, he was against the Chargers. He actually did pretty good. He had 107 yards and a touchdown against the Chargers, which is sweet because I hate the Chargers. Anyway, he was actually pretty healthy until 2022. The second game of the season in overtime, that crazy game against Arizona, Hunter Renfrow was hit in overtime by Isaiah Simmons, suffered a concussion and fumbled the ball. It was a turning point in the game. It was the catalyst for his Arizona taking the ball and going down the field and winning the game in overtime. Well, he missed a few games for that concussion, and it was never really the same after that, even that same season. And I'll tell you, as someone who suffered a pretty massive concussion myself, in 2015, I was in a pretty serious car accident, and it was pretty bad. I had to do a lot of speech and cognitive therapy. I don't know if sometimes you hear me talk and I slur my words a little bit, or my tongue looks like it's a little bit fat. Well, that's because it's part of my injury and my recovery. So I'm probably where I'm going to be. I'm not going to get any better than I am right now. I think I'm okay. But I understand coming back from head injuries. It's not easy, and people don't see the grind. It's not something where you can look at someone and say, oh, that guy's fine. He's good to go, right? Especially when you're playing a contact sport. So I can empathize with Hunter Renfrow and what he's going through coming back from concussion. I can see that Josh McDaniels, when he came in and he took over in 2022, he wanted a specific thing out of Hunter Renfrow. I don't know that Hunter Renfrow was giving him exactly that. Here's the reason why. There was a interview Hunter Renfrow did about when he really took off under John Gruden. John Gruden was very similar to Josh McDaniels in the way that he wanted his routes run a specific way. He wanted to know exactly where the receiver was going to be at all times because he's very focused and drilled down on his offense has to be a specific way. He's very specific about that. That's not Hunter Renfrow's game. Hunter Renfrow is, let me shake you 3 or 4 times and find the leverage, and off that leverage, I will make my decision. If you notice, a lot of his catches aren't like he turns around and the ball's coming to him. Most of the time is he shakes his guy and then he shows that he's open and the ball's thrown to him late. He had a really good communication and rapport with Derek Carr at the time, which led for his 103 catches, 1,038 yards, and 9 touchdown season when he went to the Pro Bowl. A lot of those catches were him just moving around and shaking and then getting open and then getting the ball, not being open at the break. So that's not going to fly in a Josh McDaniels offense. Okay, we all know that he's very particular how he wants his routes run. So I was under the impression, I was in the hopes that there would be some middle ground between how Josh McDaniels wants to run his offense at the time and what Hunter Renfrow was best at. Well, we all saw how that worked out. Hunter Renfrow had his 2 worst seasons under Josh McDaniels in 22 and in 23. Look, I'm not saying it's all Josh McDaniels. I'm not saying it's all Hunter Renfrow. I'm saying it's a little bit of both, but most of it is his injury. I think we can all agree that Hunter Renfrow was never the same after that concussion. Now, there's been several times where Hunter Renfrow, when returning punts, was just absolutely abused. Helmet-to-helmet contact, head contact on tackles, just when he was getting just demolished and no flags were being thrown. It was one of the things that I was like, what the heck is going on here? Well, I can definitely see Hunter Renfrow taking a step back and saying, look, I'm going to get released. Let me take this time to really get myself healthy and see where I can get myself injury-wise off my head injuries. I can tell you right now, I did 6 months of, see, my tongue really isn't back all the way. I did 6 months of speech and cognitive therapy after my accident once I was able to kind of get around and be, somewhat functional, right? I can see Hunter Renfrow just taking some time, supplementing himself well, and really moving forward in his recovery from his concussions first. Because look, if you're having even lingering effects from concussions, it's not possible to concentrate and to think as quickly on your feet as you need to being an NFL wide receiver, especially if you run a lot of choice routes and option routes. You got to be able to see things right away and act. And if anything type of fogginess or slowing down from concussion injury and recovery can really just bog you down. On top of that, he had a lot of drop issues his last season. So it's like, look, you're looking at a guy, his main things are his quickness and his catching ability, his hands. And those 2 things start to slip. What else do you have to hang your hat on? He's not overly fast. He's not big. He's not overly strong. He's like, okay, well, that's the only thing that you really had to do. Okay. So the reason why we're talking about Hunter Renfrow, if you hadn't noticed, Hunter Renfrow actually visited the Raiders a couple days ago. I actually think there's a very strong possibility Hunter Renfrow can get re-signed with the Raiders. And here's the reason why. In a Chip Kelly offense, it's not an offense that's run on basically like a huge route tree or like precision route running. A lot of this stuff is getting the defense to move and react to things and finding the open spots. That's not technically what you would need to have a precision route runner for. You need a guys that will be able to sell a play going one way or one direction, or sell a play being something different and being able to react off of that. I think that reaction part is what's best for Hunter Renfrow. If the whole offense is kind of built around that, kind of getting a defense to react and showing them something different after the fact, that's better for Hunter Renfrow. First and foremost, I want to make sure that Hunter Renfrow is healthy. His health is, he's got a family, he's got, kids. He needs to be healthy. That's the most important thing. If Hunter Renfrow is healthy, there is no reason not to sign him, especially if you're going to sign him for probably $3.5, $4 million. That's probably what they're going to sign him for. Okay. He's not going to get a big, huge contract. He's not that guy. He's been out of the league. He has declining production. It doesn't matter the reason. That's what it is. He's going to get about a $3 to $4 million contract. That's going to be it. If you can sign him for that and see what happens if he comes along, I don't see a problem with it. I actually think that he can be very productive in a Chip Kelly offense, because there is a lot of screens and misdirection and things like that that can help Hunter Renfrow get the ball in space where he's very good. Because despite his size, man, realistically, he really only had that concussion issue. That was the main thing. He's been relatively healthy in his career besides that. So I don't have too many concerns about him being able to protect himself and keep himself healthy. It looks like he keeps himself in good shape. He's running, he's getting himself back in shape. So I don't know how, I don't think anything's been released as to the extent of the visit. Did he do any physical things? Did he run routes? Was he able to show what he can do? Did he do a preliminary type of physical? Did he bring any medicals with him? Who knows? I don't know that. But what I do know is the Raiders are interested because this is the type of guy, the type of leader, the type of guy with the culture that Pete Carroll loves. Also, this is the type of guy that Chip Kelly can get a lot out of because Chip Kelly knows how to create matchups to get guys in space. So bottom line, if Hunter Renfrow is healthy, you got to sign him, especially if it's for a good team-friendly deal. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Hope you liked the video. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. It's a great way to support. It's absolutely free, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video. But let's just be honest. If you watch this far, you might as well go ahead and subscribe, okay? It makes a big difference in like the whole YouTube algorithm to help make sure that these videos are put up in front to people in Raider Nation because, man, I talk to Raider fans almost every single day. I talk to them about my podcast, and they're like, dude, I didn't even know that was a thing. So it's a huge thing. There's still a lot of Raider Nation out there who's not hip to the game of content creators. So I want to make sure that we can get out there and get the voice of Raider Nation out to all Raider fans. All right, guys, that's my time. I appreciate it. Till next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.